let's have one of our analysts, a football commentator, join us at this time. We've got Titonishola Omoni. Thank you so much, Bolu, for joining me on the show today.
Definitely going to have a lovely conversation.
Great to have you on the show. Bolu, I've reeled out a lot of concerns, criticisms coming from after that announcement by the Confederation of African Football. We hear bias, we hear some geographical favoritism, we hear no transparency, we hear some intentional overlook for young players, for players who have made the mark, Mohamed Salah. Now, some of them even ask, is Egypt still in Africa? Because we're not seeing anybody from Egypt there. Not like we did not have any exceptional performance from the Pharaohs, playing in all competition from the 2023 to the 2024 season, which the Confederation of African Football are using for this review. But let me begin by asking you, what were your thoughts at seeing the shortlist in the male category?
One of the things I always tell people at awards, no matter who gets nominated, there will be criticism. That's for sure. But some are just too obvious to be ignored, especially the player of the year. It feels like the PR working for Rowan Williams is rising and rising by day. Best goalkeeper at the AFCON based on clean sheets, goals conceded. Then coming here, making the shortlist for the best player in Africa. The only criteria CAF told us was January 2024 to October 2024. It means it's not necessarily the African Cup of Nations alone. When I saw that a Bayer Leverkusen player was nominated and the name was not Victor Boniface, I said to myself, no disrespect to the player that was nominated. He plays for Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso didn't do well at the African Cup of Nations. They got eliminated in the round of 16. It means it's beyond that. And when people say, okay, it's about AFCON majorly. Jose Pesel finished second at the AFCON. He didn't even get nominated. Sudan manager, Kwesi, got nominated. So I think these are the gray areas for me that makes it look like they are trying to satisfy. So I say it every time. If the best players come from one region, take all of them. If they spread across board, take all of them. Salah had a good season last year. This season he has started so well. He's not there. As much as we all criticize Nicholas Jackson, he ended last season well. He has started this season well. He's not on the list. Ashraf Hakimi gave Victor Osimhen for the money last season. Brahim Diaz didn't play at the AFCON. Yes, but he's been brilliant for Real Madrid all through last season. He also didn't get nomination. So you ask, what are the true criteria they are using? But I don't think there should be any doubt about the winner. Because there's only one man among the best players that was brilliant all through the African Cup of Nations, brilliant for the remainder of the season, and has had a great start to the season. Not because I'm Nigerian, the name has to be Ademola Lookman. Any other thing apart from Lookman would definitely raise lots of eyebrows.
Good. These concerns you've raised are what those on social media also raise, and I think they're not far-fetched, as I did introduce. But let's talk about the frequency of this award being hosted in Morocco. If you look at that list, that short list being made by the Confederation of African Football, you will see we've got more North Africans in the list. Now, with Morocco hosting the CAF competition in 3 consecutive years, there are growing concerns, Bolu, that these awards, is this regional dominance? Is it based on who is hosting, or this favoritism for the North African nation because they've hosted this thing back to back to back? Does this reoccurring venue choice distract CAF commitment to Pan-African representation in the CAF Awards?
It's not just CAF Awards now that is going to Morocco. Everything is going to Morocco.
So it's broader than this.
Underage games, the women games, the men games, everything in African football is going down to Morocco. Yes, people would say they have all the facilities, they have everything. For on the field, then no problem, no doubt about that. But what about ceremonies? If you are going there to host every event, I think for ceremony, if no other African country have halls to host, I'm sure Nigeria have. I'm sure South Africa can host that. Incidentally, with the CAF president...
Are you sure Nigeria can host this kind of award ceremony?
We used to host it. We've hosted it a few times.
What is the criterion to say Nigeria should be able to host?
Our facilities may have problems to host a tournament, but not a... award ceremony.
So what are you saying? We cannot host a tournament, but we can host a ceremony. So good enough for the fanfare.
Hosting a ceremony is the least of our problem. We have more than enough venues for it. But even beyond Nigeria, I believe every country on the continent will have at least one venue to host a standard. It's just to host an event in an enclosed place with proper sound, proper setting and all. I don't think a country will be that bad that they won't have that. Maybe except Libya that have different leaders and therefore safety and all. So if it continues to be a Morocco thing, questions will be asked. For example, Morocco didn't do well at the last African Cup of Nations. Sofian, what is he doing there on the list? He plays in Asia as well. No disrespect to them. If you are going by only those that did so well at the AFCON, half of those on the top 10 list for the men will not be there. It means it is beyond the African Cup of Nations. But here we are. Achraf Hakimi, no doubt. He had a brilliant Olympic Games. He did so well for PSG. And to relatively with Morocco. But other players raise questions when those we think are the best are not there. But for the ceremony, if it continues to go to Morocco everything, I think other nations will start asking questions. Why Morocco every time?